Charlie Munger once said something that should terrify every leader in America right now. He said, "It takes character to sit there with all that cash and do nothing." But here's what he didn't say out loud, what he implied. The opposite is also true. It takes no character to sit there surrounded by chaos and create more chaos. 100 days into Trump's second term, we're watching this play out in real time. Economists are calling him an agent of chaos. Markets have erased $10 trillion in value. His own administration is described as cruelty and chaos by international observers. And if Charlie Munger were alive today, he wouldn't say what you think. He wouldn't pick a political side. He'd do something far more uncomfortable. He'd show us exactly how leaders fail when they're surrounded by chaos, and why Trump's situation is a warning for every single one of us. Let me lay out what's actually happening. Not the talking points, the facts. The first 100 days by the numbers. Markets. Trump has overseen the 11 largest single-day stock market declines in history, wiping out nearly $10 trillion in value since Inauguration Day. Trade policy. Economists are dubbing Trump as an agent of chaos and confusion, noting his zigzagging on tariffs shows limited understanding of potential consequences. Administration turnover. The White House is seeing a surge in infighting and embarrassing public revelations, with officials wanting Elon Musk out well before he announced he'd significantly cut back on government work. Internal conflicts. There's mixed messaging on Ukraine-Russia. Officials are dumping on trade advisors Peter Navarro and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, and Pete Hegseth's Pentagon is awash in firings and leaks. Policy whiplash. Trump fired IRS Acting Commissioner Gary Shapley, and Laura Loomer persuaded him to fire several National Security Council officials. Consumer confidence. Consumer confidence dropped by nearly 8% in April, marking the lowest figure since the depths of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, here's what makes this fascinating from a Munger perspective. This isn't about Republican or Democrat. This is about a pattern that Munger spent 60 years studying. What happens when leaders optimize for action over wisdom, when they prioritize loyalty over competence, when they confuse motion with progress? And what we're seeing? It's textbook organizational failure. Munger's most famous quote is about patience, about discipline, about having the character to resist action when action isn't warranted. But flip that principle and you see something profound. Leaders who constantly create chaos lack the character to sit with uncertainty. They need to do something, anything, fire someone, make an announcement, impose a tariff, withdraw it, change policy, create drama. Why? Because sitting with complexity, with problems that don't have easy answers, requires intellectual and emotional maturity. A former Trump official said the president thrives in chaos and it's part of his leadership style, but noted the first administration was more united in policy objectives, whereas now there's a different explanation daily on trade policy, Middle East position, and Ukraine. That's not strategy. That's psychological need disguised as leadership. Munger would ask, is this person creating chaos because the situation demands it? Or because they can't handle sitting still? And here's the brutal truth. If you can't tell the difference in others, you probably can't tell the difference in yourself. Munger was obsessed with incentive structures. He studied how multiple psychological forces combine to create extreme outcomes, what he called the Lollapalooza effect. So let's map the incentives creating chaos in Trump's administration. Trump's incentive: dominate the news cycle, show strength, never admit mistakes, keep enemies off balance. Staff's incentive: stay in Trump's good graces, don't be the next person fired, tell him what he wants to hear. Cabinet members' incentive: survive, execute orders without questioning, maintain loyalty above all. Media's incentive: cover every chaotic moment because it drives clicks and ratings. Opposition's incentive: highlight every failure to weaken Trump politically. You see what's happening? Every incentive is aligned toward creating more chaos, not less. It's a self-reinforcing doom loop. Financial institutions like J.P. Morgan are predicting a high likelihood of recession in 2025 caused entirely by Trump's economic policy. That's not partisan analysis. That's markets responding to incentive structures that guarantee instability. Munger would say, when you design a system where chaos is rewarded and stability is punished, don't be surprised when you get chaos. And here's the kicker. You're doing this in your organization too. Different scale, same pattern. This is Munger's nuclear principle, the thing that separated him from every other investor. He was willing to destroy his own best-loved ideas when the evidence changed. Think about that for a second. Your EGO is screaming to defend your position. Your IDENTITY is wrapped up in being right. Your STATUS depends on not looking weak. And Munger says, doesn't matter. Kill the idea if it's wrong. Now look at Trump's pattern. First tariffs on Canada and Mexico in February with immediate shockwaves, paused 2 days later, then reimposed in March with 25% rates on nearly all goods. That's not adapting to new information. That's not destroying bad ideas. That's chaos creation, followed by chaos management. Trump refused to rule out recession this year, but insisted the economy was in a period of transition, saying his tariff plans are very big and bringing wealth back takes a little time. Translation: I can't admit I might be wrong, so I'll reframe the chaos as intentional strategy. Munger would be ruthless here. If you can't kill your bad ideas quickly, they'll kill your organization slowly. And before you nod smugly at Trump's failure, ask yourself, what idea are you clinging to right now that the evidence says is wrong? How much is your ego costing you? Munger was famous for asking, and then what? And then what? And then what? Most leaders think 1 step ahead. Great leaders think 3 steps ahead. Munger thought 5 steps ahead. Let's apply this to Trump's chaos pattern. First order, fire people who disagree with me, I get compliance. Second order, but now nobody tells me when I'm wrong, I make more mistakes. Third order, more mistakes mean more failures, need scapegoats. Fourth order, fire more people, even less honest feedback. Fifth order, the administration that promised stability now faces potential cabinet shakeups after year 1. See the spiral? Trump's first term had record-breaking turnover, and despite promises of more stability, reports indicate the White House is preparing for potential cabinet changes. That's not bad luck. That's inevitable when you don't think beyond the immediate satisfaction of taking action. Munger would say, the chaos you're experiencing today is the predictable result of decisions you made yesterday without thinking about tomorrow. Here's the hard question. What action are you taking today that will create chaos for you 6 months from now? Let's come back to Munger's most important insight about character. In investing, character means resisting the urge to act when you should wait. In leadership, character means resisting the urge to create chaos when you should think. International human rights organizations describe Trump's 100 days as leading with cruelty and chaos, creating a human rights emergency by suppressing dissent and undermining the rule of law. Now, you might disagree with that assessment politically. Fine, but the pattern is undeniable. When leaders lack the character to sit with complexity, they make impulsive decisions, create unnecessary urgency, demand immediate action on problems that require thought, fire people who slow them down, and optimize for the appearance of strength over actual results. Munger lived to be 99. You know what he did for most of that time? He sat and thought. Munger and Buffett insisted on having lots of time available almost every day to just sit and think. Noting this is very uncommon in American business. Not creating chaos, not making dramatic moves, not dominating headlines, just thinking. And that boring approach made him one of the richest and most respected people in history. Meanwhile, Trump's policy failures are worse than most realize, with professional observers noting both depravity and incompetence, resulting in sinking job approval. Character isn't flashy, but over time, it wins. Here's where this gets uncomfortable. You watch this entire video thinking it's about Trump. It's not. It's about you. Because every single pattern we've discussed, every failure mode, every chaos creation mechanism, you're doing some version of it right now. You're creating chaos because you can't sit with uncertainty, making decisions just to feel like you're doing something, reorganizing when you should be reflecting, starting new projects when you should finish old ones. You've designed incentive structures that reward chaos. Your best people leave because drama gets attention and competence gets ignored. You promote based on visibility, not value. You reward firefighters and punish fire preventers. You can't destroy your own bad ideas. That strategy that's not working, you're defending it. That hire that was clearly wrong, you're making excuses. That business model that's failing, you're calling it a transition period. You're not thinking in second-order consequences. Every quick fix creating a bigger problem. Every shortcut creating technical debt. Every urgent decision creating more urgency. You lack the character to do nothing when nothing is the right move. You're addicted to action, to motion, to the feeling of leadership without the discipline of actually leading. Munger would look at you the same way he'd look at Trump. You're not stupid, you're undisciplined. And that's worse, because stupid can't be fixed, but undisciplined is a choice. So here's the question that matters. What chaos are you creating because you can't handle sitting still? Okay, so how do you fix this? What would Munger actually do differently? Based on decades of his writing, speeches, and actions, here's the anti-chaos framework. First, invert the problem. Don't ask, how do I succeed? Ask, how would I create maximum chaos? Then stop doing those things. It's that simple and that hard. Second, fix the incentive structure. What are you actually rewarding? Drama or results? Loyalty or competence? Motion or progress? Whatever you're getting more of is what you're incentivizing. Third, build in thinking time. Munger and Buffett made time almost every day to just sit and think, calling it uncommon in American business. Block off time to do nothing productive. Just think. It feels wasteful. It's not. Fourth, practice idea destruction. Every week ask, what am I doing that I should stop? Then actually stop it. Your ego will hate this. Your results will love it. Fifth, develop character through discipline. Character isn't something you have. It's something you build through repeated small acts of discipline. Sit with the uncertainty. Resist the urge to act. Think in systems, not snapshots. Sixth, hire people who disagree with you. If everyone around you agrees with you, you've built an echo chamber, not a team. The goal isn't comfort, it's truth. Seventh, measure stability as success. In our culture, we celebrate disruption and chaos, but Munger celebrated boring reliability. How many days did your organization run smoothly? That's the metric. These aren't revolutionary. They're what Munger did for 70 years while building one of the most successful organizations in human history. Not through chaos, through character. Charlie Munger died in 2023, just weeks before his 100th birthday. He saw a lot of leaders in his 99 years, presidents, CEOs, billionaires, icons. And you know what separated the ones who lasted from the ones who flamed out? Not intelligence, not charisma, not even luck. Character. The character to sit with chaos without creating more of it. The character to destroy your own bad ideas. The character to think when everyone else is demanding action. The character to be boring when boring is what works. Trump's chaos isn't unique to Trump. It's a pattern as old as leadership itself. Impatient leaders who mistake motion for progress. Insecure leaders who create drama to feel important. Undisciplined leaders who optimize for today at the expense of tomorrow. And 100 days in, we're seeing the predictable results. Market volatility, geopolitical turbulence, economic recession warnings, and a U.S. economy that economists say is resilient, largely despite Trump, not because of him. But here's what makes Munger's wisdom so powerful. This isn't political commentary. This is systems analysis. And the system, whether it's the White House, your company, or your personal life, is telling you something. Chaos is expensive. Character is profitable. The question is, are you listening? If Charlie Munger were watching Trump's chaotic 100 days, I don't think he'd be angry or partisan. I think he'd see it as a teaching moment. A live case study in what happens when leaders lack the discipline to sit with uncertainty, when they optimize for action over wisdom, when they confuse strength with character. And then he'd turn to us and say, don't focus on Trump. Focus on the pattern, because you're doing the same thing at your scale. The business you're running into the ground with constant pivots. The team you're demoralizing with unnecessary urgency. The decisions you're making just to feel like you're doing something. That's your chaos, and it's costing you more than you realize. So here's my challenge. For the next 7 days, practice doing nothing when your instinct screams to do something. Sit with the uncertainty. Resist the urge to act. Think in second-order consequences. Ask, how would I create maximum chaos? Then stop doing those things. Because at the end of your life, whether you live to 99 like Munger or not, you won't be remembered for the chaos you created. You'll be remembered for the character you built. We are the rational observer, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay rational, stay disciplined, and for the love of God, stop creating unnecessary chaos.